Let's change this to maybe a lighter basic material or matte cap white. What I want to do is I did a video on planes of the face. So what I'm going to do now is just sort of incorporate that video in a sort of accelerated way on this female body. So under subtool here, let's just go ahead and append a sphere. And then with that sphere appended, I'm just going to go down to initialize and let's select it. And I'm going to just change it to a Q sphere. Hit W and move it up. Let's go to our side view. And what I'm going to do is the back two faces make up the neck. So let's go ahead and hide this for a second. So this is where I attach the neck, these two faces, and this is the chin. So let's bring this back. And then I'm just going to divide this, make sure symmetry is on. And with my move tool, just start to shape out this face a little bit like this. Right, I'm going to pull the highest point of the head is just slightly past the halfway point. I'm going to bring the chin out a little bit. And then let's go ahead and bring our reference back. It looks like I got a little off model, and that's okay. So let's kind of pull this up a little bit more. And I'm just blocking out. And I tend to exaggerate the hands and the head a little bit because in games, the character's oftentimes pretty small on the screen. So if the character's only this big, you sort of want the most prevalent parts to, to show through, right? So that's going to be the face. All right, let's bring this down. All right. All right, let's now in the front view, let's flatten this out a little bit. And I personally, especially if I'm doing a celebrity, I really do like to do the head in a separate file. The only benefit to kind of doing it all at once is you get to do kind of like a painter, big broad strokes, um, and see everything sort of coming together at once. So a lot of my friends who are artists, who are character artists, they might like this method better. For me, I love modular modeling, so that means like compartmentalizing all the pieces. Um, so let's go ahead and merge these down. And I'm going to pause the video and save it. Alright, so now that they're merged down, let's go ahead and Dynamesh and Zremesh. So under Dynamesh here, I'm going to Dynamesh it at 512, right? And then under Zremesh, I'm going to probably do it around 5. Because I like having this surface information in there, but I don't really need the detail yet, right? I can always go in Sculptress and fix it. Alright, so we get a nice little low res going on here until we're ready. So let's go ahead and let's just knock out the eyes. So I'm going to push this in, give myself a little bit of a bridge of a nose, a little bit of a forehead. And then to really consolidate those areas where the eyes go, let's kind of pull these cheekbones out. And right now I'm just sort of having fun, right? I don't have anything, I'm not really looking at the reference for the head. I'm just sort of laying out the pieces that I need. You can use reference if you're like trying to capture that shape. That stuff can all be moved around later. So let's go ahead and append another sphere. I'm going to go ahead and hit E, select it, hit E, scale this down. Bring that to my front view here. So just kind of positioning the eye just below, just where the bridge of the nose is. Alright, use my Z plugin, Subtool Master Mirror. You go ahead and hit OK. And they're a little wide, but I think that's okay because I can always move the geo around. I can click on the eyes and move them. So let's duplicate this 3 times. So on our upper lid, I'm going to hold Control and Shift, select rectangle, and then I'm going to grab my trim rectangle and cut the bottom part of the eye. And then the bottom lid here, I'm going to cut the bottom part. And maybe I'll cut it a little bit more here. And then on our top lid, I'm going to hit X, make sure symmetry's on. And same thing with my move tool. I'm going to hold Alt and just extend out that lid, right? Something like this. And then I'm going to create a very generic flat top part to the eye. It almost looks Muppet-like. And like I was telling you before, I just sort of exaggerating this. Let's Z-remesh this as well at 1. So geometry, Z-remesh, 1. And so you can see that. I'm going to alt-click down here. Let's make sure that we have this one selected. Z-remesh that. And pull that out. Looks like, do I have multiple copies of that? No, that's it. Same thing, just kind of don't make the same mistake as me. Make sure symmetry is on. Just kind of tapping this. Bring this out. With the head, I'm going to pull this in a little bit more, like this. Really just sort of structuring that brow ridge, right? Because your bottom eyelid is not this prominent, right? It's usually just the sliver. Even if you're doing a cartoony character, right? Like, what's a good example? Maybe, let's see. Here, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to grab a quick image of maybe something from The Incredibles or something. So I was just kind of looking at this, but do you see how his eyelids are not, even though he is kind of like extending his eyes, he's really excited about this egg roll. You can see here that his eyelid is really not that big, right? And it depends on the style. Even if you're going for something like Pinocchio, let's see if we can bring up a quick image of. So you can see here's an image of Pinocchio smoking, right? And he's got a big upper eyelid, not much of a lower lid even showing. So I usually leave it pretty prominent because when I go to rig it, I can control the shape of it. All right, so with this in place, same thing as before. I'm going to just shift this bottom lid up, and I'm going to merge these down. All right, same deal, geometry, Dynamesh it, and then Zremesh it. So now we've got a pretty good just base of a head, and then I'll knock out the nose and the ears and stuff in the next video.